Hello world, and we're back. Trans Gurus in the house. Today we have a really heavy topic. It's about relationships, but like all types of relationships, not just love relationships. Relationships with yourself, relationships with your family, relationships with friends, relationships. So what do you all think? Like, who has something to say right away? We all do.
Yeah, relationships is I probably will start with something which is called family relationships. When I transitioned, I have had actually very great and very good support from my family. They've always been very good, from my sons, from my daughter. My daughter is my big support as far as my transition is concerned, but as well from my sister. Well, I have to tell you that when I transitioned, both my parents already passed away, so that was not an issue there. But relationship with my mother knew that I was a transgender person since the age of 5, but she didn't want me to. It was back in the 50s or in the 60s, and of the early 60s, and people didn't regard transgender people at that time very well. But in reality, now, with my transition, I had a really great support from all my family. They've been a blessing in disguise. And I hope that... But in a way, it is what you give, you get back. If you give happiness, you get happiness back. I always gave happiness to my family.
The old saying, if you feel good with yourself, other people will feel good with you. If you don't feel good with yourself, how do you expect other people to feel good with you?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's
and it has
powerful,
been like
yeah.
that all the
And
time.
also, you got to remember, in your transition, when you first start, the pushback from everybody, whether it's family, friends, is going to be a lot more. But the longer you transition and the better you pass, subconsciously, when you meet people, they see you through a different light, and it just makes it go better. I know a lot of people start transitioning and they have all kinds of problems with their family. My situation, my family never accepted me. And, but of course I transitioned, it was 79 on, and it was a different time, and I grew up from a Sicilian family.
When the dinosaurs were walking the earth, Bonnie. This is a legend, a living legend.
Oh, you're a legend too, sweetie. Us legends.
Yeah. But yeah, so you were saying with your family. Yeah.
So anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that, it all has to do with relevancy as far as how far you progress with your transition as to how well people will accept you. And I see a lot of people that say, oh, I'm transgender, and they're male to female, and you still got a beard, you still whatever, you still dress like a man, you still talk like a man, and you expect people to refer to you as a female. It doesn't work that way. You need to put your time in like everything, and if you're willing to put the time, there'll be rewards at the end.
Yeah, that is so true. Wow. You know what I noticed? I noticed that people that knew me before my transition, like family and friends, it was like harder for them to view me as the trans woman that I am now. People that meet me, that have met me after the trans, they always say to me, I could never picture you being a man or being male, because they're meeting me as I am. So that's one thing I've noticed. You have something to say, buddy?
Well, with my family, I remember when I was little, I always wanted to fit in and with the guys, and I always wanted to run around and always do all the masculine things like playing tag and football and being a part of my uncles and their sons and having that rite of passage. And I couldn't express that I felt the same way as a boy felt because I wasn't embraced as a man. I was being directed to be a woman. So it was always a weird translation miscommunication. Like it was always lost in translation when I was trying to communicate with my family about that desire, that urge. But as soon as I transitioned and I was able to, like how Bonnie said, I had to put my time in and really earn my stripes to gain respect. That's when I started being seen for the man that I perceived myself to be. When I started to put my money where my mouth was and really go after my transition, that's when I had the best success with my family, because they had no other choice but to see me as that man.
God, family dynamics, that's like heavy duty.
So what I would like to say as well at this point is that we go to a lot of our support groups, and I'm always very, very happy to see some parents of transgender kids which come because they are lost. They have got this kid which is transgender and they don't know, you know. Of course, you know, when you are transgender and you don't tell your parents, or you tell your parents at a certain time, you've gone already through a very long process which your parents didn't go through. So they are a little bit lost to try to find out, you know, what's going on? Why is she doing this? What's going on? The implications. They're always so scared that transgender people are going to be, you know, maltreated. They're going to have problems. They're going to have issues. They don't understand them. And it's always very, very positive when they come and we can actually tell them what we've gone through, that they actually realize that there is a future for a transgender person. And I think that is the great support that we are doing to that. I don't know if you want to add something, Jimmy.
Sure. I'm listening to Bonnie explain when she was young, her mother felt defective. It's not a parent, they feel like they maybe did something wrong, that they have a kid that's transgender. To the contrary, I think transgender people are gifted. I think we are truly gifted. And it's going to go from a point from where Bonnie's mom to my mom. When I told my parents that I was trans, my dad shrugged his shoulders and my mom blew a gasket. For real. Months later, my mom's giving me tips on makeup and hair, and she's come around.
I know for me, the more confident I got with myself, I felt like I got more respect for people. When I was like transitioning in the beginning and like awkward, and I'd go out and feel very uncomfortable, it was almost like I was like a sheep walking into the wolf's den, because people, they notice that and they prey on that. You know, if they see that you're not confident in yourself, and you know that you're maybe uncomfortable with yourself, well, how are they going to be comfortable with you if you're not comfortable with yourself? So I've noticed that as I've lived my life, and thank God I've like evolved and got stronger in the sense of like embracing myself. I think one big thing is like overcoming the naysayers and not listening to that. See, because as children, like for me, you know how we're taught to like please our parents, like, you know, you do good, so then you can get a, you know, like a tap on the shoulder or a candy or whatever you want, like whatever you're desiring, but that praise and that affirmation from your parents. And I think that that goes out into like our lives, like wanting to please people. I know I had like a please issue, like I just always wanted to make people happy, and I realized you can't make everyone happy. You can't please everyone. I was like, Lord, I'll be in the corner with a dribble cup, like rocking back and forth, because it's impossible. But what I've noticed is that, you know, again, like when you exude that confidence and you go out and you hold your head up, that's like what you attract.
Yeah.
Most of the times. I mean, every now and then I do get an asshole here or there that tries to come for me, but
They want to test
yeah,
you. They want to see if it's legitimate.
That's normal.
right.
Yeah, but coming back to relationships, and it's been for me something very, very important is that the courage, the self-confidence that I portray to everybody made its effect into relationships with my peers, with my friends, and that helped me a lot because you get that feedback back that you are doing something nice.
How
And
many
you
years have
open
you transitioned now?
5 years.
Oh, 5 years. So 5 years. Put her time in. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, for example, all my people which I work with all over the world, they have accepted me the way I am now, except for one. And that's what I don't give them.
And Ella, that's exactly because you accept yourself.
Absolutely.
And you
because,
add value to these people in your circle.
correct.
I used to work in a dollar store in New Jersey, Burlington, New Jersey, and I had to really make sure that I was under the radar because if I didn't, since it was a bad area, I probably would have been chewed alive and spitting out, or whatever could have happened to me if they would have found out that I was lying to them about my identity. So when I was in these situations, I really had to make sure that I walked the walk, I talked the talk, and I didn't stray from that. Of course, I allowed my quirky personality to come out in an appropriate situation. And yeah, maybe you can owe it up to like a little bit of survival mode, but you have to do what you have to do to make it. And if you have that ability, well, I had that ability to fly under the radar.
How long has it been that you've transitioned?
I've been transitioning since, I know the exact date, December 13th of 2013. It was a Friday.
Wow.
Friday the 13th.
Wow.
In the world.
That is
Here I
a lucky
come.
day in many places.
You would pick Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah. So coincidentally, my girlfriend's birthday is on the 13th too.
Aww.
Shout out. To
Shout
Nevaeh.
out Nevaeh.
Hey girl. But yeah, I had to make sure that I was on top of my game. I had my game face on every single day. There was no day that I could have allowed any slack. And if I did, then that was me risking my own life. That would be due to my own stupidity because I was aware enough to know that I can't allow certain behaviors or things to come out of me. And some people might say, oh, you're a coward. Right, okay, that's fine. Let's see how that mindset goes for you by going out there and just exposing yourself when you need to stay under the radar. It's not going to pan out right. So I had to do what I had to do, and because of it, I gained a lot of respect from all my coworkers, working in a vast variety of jobs and occupations, and male-dominated as well. So I was always able to navigate and maneuver because of me being confident in who I am, because of me putting in that effort and making sure that I tightened up all the reins. And when I presented myself, you couldn't question it. There was no way in hell that you could even for a second think that I was not born a man. And that's what I strive to surpass, that ceiling every day. I mean, I don't really have much of I already made it, but I still make sure that I maintain it.
That is something for all of us. I mean, we always have to make sure that we present what we are. Walk the walk, talk the talk. And
Today's
very
times
important.
are not as hard as when me and Raji
Start
rocked and rolled.
And I'm
It's a lot
so
different
blessed to
world.
be born in this time frame. I'm thankful that I didn't have to go through that. That you and Raji, people like you and Raji were able to trailblaze so my generation could have it so easily
Absolutely.
and blessed.
Well, isn't that what it's all about? Making it better for the next generation. And, and that's great, Christian. You were able to, do that, go under the radar. That was like, anytime I see a trans person that can do that, like I'm like, wow, that's great. I mean, if you have that ability, you make it work for yourself. But for anyone out there that can't go under the radar, like for most of my life, I wasn't able to go under the radar. It's like when I walked in a room, people knew I was trans, 9 out of 10, you know. And I mean, don't get me wrong now. I had a few guys that like they didn't know, but for the most part. And so I think like for me, the key thing was just, even if people know that I was gonna be the best trans woman that I could be. Like, not a man in a dress, in other words, for lack of a better phrase. So even if you know I'm trans, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna represent. And I'm not gonna be like, oh, look at the man in the dress. No offense to men in dresses, okay? But I'm just saying, you know, so I think finding that confidence in yourself and just being able to like love and embrace yourself. And I'm gonna tell you, if I had listened to like all those people, those haters, man,
You wouldn't be here today.
I would not be here today. I think today we really had we went all over the place. We went from family to friends to relationships with ourselves. You know, so really powerful. And we'd love for you all to comment on this video. So don't forget, like, put your comments. Let us know what you're going through, or any thoughts or suggestions you might have about
Or topics.
relationship.
If
Yeah.
there's some topics
By the way,
that some people.
If you come to our website in Facebook, you can mass messengers. We will answer. We probably will not answer within 2 seconds. Probably takes 1 hour until we find out that you actually answer. But we usually answer.
You will be answered. And also, don't forget to click that follow button. Come on, y'all. We got some juicy stuff for you coming ahead.
And come and see us in YouTube.
Yay! Trans gurus in the house. Love, peace, and blessings.
And cut. Cool.
Very good, very good.